Swinging a ground ball, stabbed by Folk. He has it. He underhands to first, and the Boston Red Sox are the world champions for the first time in 86 years.
Together they have, and together they stand alone on top of the mountain for now. And once again, the Boston Celtics stand alone for all time. It is banner 18.
No icing. For the first time in 39 years, the Boston Bruins have won the Stanley Cup.
And a title for the Patriots!
I can't believe it!
They have completed the greatest comeback in Super Bowl history.
Good morning, listeners. Welcome into episode 68 of a Noop Era podcast. My name is Hanson, better known as Fryddy Online, and I am joined here this morning by my dad and co-host, the OG Frid. Dad, would you like to say hello to the listeners this morning?
Yeah, good morning. Good morning, Fryddy. Good morning, listeners. Beautiful weekend. I hope you all had a great Easter Sunday.
Were you not done?
I'm done.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something else. It looked like you were.
Yeah. No.
You were ready to rock and roll there. I was getting my stretch out.
Yeah.
Caught me off guard.
Well, yeah, I see you're in your Celtic hat and Celtic jersey.
I know, I look like your classic Boston douchebag on a Celtics game day, don't I? Exactly what I wore for the game yesterday as we started our playoff run. And that's a great segue, because that's what I wanted to bring up first.
All right.
So let's recap the Celtics game one here, and then kind of like we've done for other playoffs and stuff, we'll go through some of the other series and then give our predictions for the rest of the NBA bracket there is. Granted, I think I know where we're going to end up landing for both of us, but we have to do it. Maybe NHL one that we'll do in a little bit here will be a little more fun because our team isn't actually in the fight. But we'll start off with yesterday's game one with the Celtics and the Magic. Celtics take that one 103-86. You just knew probably right 2 to 3 minutes after halftime, getting into the third quarter, the Celtics started to pull away, and you just kind of knew that's how this game was going to go. They were down 1 point at halftime, but luckily I didn't see enough. Not enough. I didn't see that many people like panicking as I thought I would at the thought of them being down 1 point to the Orlando Magic in game one at home. But then they ended up pulling it away, winning the third quarter 30-18, winning the fourth quarter 25-19, on the shoulders of Derek White scoring 30. I think he shot, 7 threes. 7 for 12 from three. Then you had Peyton Pritchard coming off the bench, 6th man of the year, definitely, with 19. Tatum and Brown, 17 and 16 each. Tatum, very bad shooting day, but he was getting involved everywhere. Had 14 boards, was really, really active off the boards and trying to keep us involved with offensive rebounds as well. Yes, he shot 1 for 8 from the field. Yes, there was a little concern about possibly a little wrist injury at the end there. It looked like he was probably fine. I think he was just milking it a little bit, get a little breath, and get everybody the rest before they would get back into play. Joe Mazzulla did say after the game that his wrist is fine. But then again, Tatum could have been shot by a 12 gauge out there, and Joe Mazzulla would have probably been like, yeah, he's fine. He'll play Wednesday.
Fine. Yeah.
So I will say you could tell he had 2 free throws right after this happened, and he did miss them both short, and he winced a little bit after the second one, so you could tell he was definitely in pain. But then he kept shooting a little bit. He did end up getting his only 3 of the game after the wrist injury. It nailed that, and you could hear the announcer saying, "Oh, maybe the wrist isn't too bad." But I don't know. I guess we'll see. There's also no reason really to force shots there at the end for Tatum to try to get him feeling better with a wrist when everything else was just working well as is. I will say though, the shot selection, and I told this to one of my Celtics fan buddies right after the game, said, happy we won, love Tatum. This is probably my number one athlete that I look up to. This is my favorite athlete in any sport right now, specifically in Boston as well. Love him. Know that wrist was hurting at the end of yesterday. But some of the shot selection I saw out of him yesterday made me think a lot of that I want to play hero ball Tatum that we have tried to have this team veer away from before in the playoffs, because it can be a questionable thing if he just starts to try to take over like that. But all that to say, it's fine. Celtics looked great outside of I wouldn't even say outside of the first half. I think the Magic played a really good half of basketball in the first half. That's probably the best half they're going to play all series because they're young. And let's face it, this team, I don't want to overlook them or anything. It is the playoffs. They're here for a reason. But after seeing what I saw out of them yesterday, this Magic team, I think originally I thought maybe we'd go to 5 games or something. This team cannot do shit offensively outside of Paulo Banchero and Mo Wagner. They literally cannot rely on a single other player to get them a bucket. Paulo had 35 yesterday. He was hitting threes that, as a Duke fan, I never saw him hit in college. He looks like a completely different player out there this series than I remember seeing of Paulo Banchero on a daily basis. But even scoring 36, 11 boards, 4 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, you still almost lose by 20. You got to think, if you're Orlando, you're just kicking yourself thinking, what the hell are we supposed to do against these Celtics?
Well, obviously, their game plan is this physicality. I mean, it'll be very interesting to see what the refs do game 2 and if they're going to call it. I mean, I know, yes, it was tight at half and all, and you could sit back and have panic button, and then we just took over and they couldn't do anything except, I mean, just play physical. That Peyton Pritchard little thigh injury, if you look at it, Cole Anthony kicked him.
So I didn't see this.
So
I thought
I know
it was they show the replay of them throwing the ball off of his thigh, but then the announcers were saying it was something before that actually hurt it. What was it? I missed it.
So Cole Anthony was trying to get through a screen, and actually you saw him put out his leg. And I know, here comes the sneeze.
Oh, God.
All right. No, maybe not.
Also on.
So I know that, obviously you're trying to get your hips around and all that stuff, but it literally looked like he really put out his leg, went in a kicking motion, and got Peyton in the thigh with his knee.
Okay.
I mean, the other, just seeing some of the large centers that Orlando has and just that one body against Jaylen Brown in the third off of a screen. I mean, the way that they can try and keep this series close is this physicalness that they're playing. But then Boston just goes, well, fuck it. I will play just as physical as you guys were and just really lock you down. Paulo will have another great game 2, but then the kid is young. I mean, he can't keep it all himself. They have no other offense at all.
Yeah, for the maybe 2 games that he goes scoring 35, even if the series only goes 4 or 5 games, he can't do that every game. He's a great player, all-star player, very talented. But there is going to be a game that he comes out here and he shoots 8 for 25 from the field, 1 for 6 from 3, 3 for 6 from the line or something, and they're going to have to figure out what to do around him. It's a very interesting matchup. I think we talked about this last week, but I would have much rather had the Magic because of the fact that our styles kind of line up so well on the defensive end.
Yeah.
These are the 2 slowest pace teams in the league, 2 best defensive teams in the league, I'd say. Like you're saying, very physical. The Hawks were the other team that we could have potentially gotten, but like I told you, they beat us earlier in the season. Something weird about the Hawks. They aren't a good team. But they just summon this weird magic when they face us sometimes to pull out games that they shouldn't. And so I'm happy we got this matchup. It's going to be slow. These are the slowest paced teams in the league. Very good defensive teams. The only thing that's going to push the pace in this series is the fact that Orlando cannot shoot the 3 worth shit outside of yesterday, or outside of the first half when they were out hitting us and out shooting us from the 3-point range. And the Celtics are the best 3-point shooting team that we've seen in NBA history in a season. So I think when you take all that and put it together, and you add slow pace plus slow pace, defense plus defense, and a team that is willing to trade 3s for 2s, or trade 2s for 3s in the Celtics, and a team that is going to try to keep up with that in the Orlando Magic, but just doesn't shoot the rock as well. This is the outcome we're going to see of all 4 of these games, where it might stay close for a couple quarters. But eventually, those 3s are going to start to pull away from those 2s. And Joe Mazzulla, regardless of who he's playing, is not going to call back the dogs. He's still going to have them shooting. Joe Mazzulla ball will live and die by the 3. And so I imagine we'll see more games like this. And, shooting 43% from 3 isn't a bad thing, don't get me wrong. But Tatum couldn't hit, really. A lot of that 3-point percentage is carried by Derek White, who, Derek White appreciation moment here. And I knew this would happen because we saw it all throughout last year in the playoffs too, with Derek White just stepping up and just being a knockdown shooter, a guy to hit 3s. I mean, there was a 3, I think, in the third quarter that moving around the ball, Jalen out to Derek. Derek's taking that from 26, 20 feet out and just draining him. Didn't even care, just pulled it up. He looks incredible, and I knew we'd get this out of Derek White. I didn't know we'd get 7 threes out of Derek White in game 1, but I'm down with it. Another huge shout out real quick to the whole backcourt, really. Derek and Drew. Drew very, scoreless throughout the first half, but just a pest, and he was being very annoying defensively. And then in the second half, that defense stepped it up. He's getting these great turnovers. The one on Mo Wagner, I think, that he just completely dribbled off of his leg. Drew then turned around for a transition 3.
When you're saying about our style, I mean, that tells it all. Drew could have probably gone to the basket easily because he had Wagner at an angle, but his speed would have beaten him and he would have been up for a layup. But instead, he runs and he's like, oh, I got a wide open 3 and I'm going to just drain it.
It's so funny to see because, I've never coached any basketball, but I've coached recreational sports of other sports. And I know, how to talk to a team and what you want people to do and not to do.
Yeah.
And all I'm thinking about in my head as he's pulling up for this is the fact that any other coach in the NBA is the fucking Drew. Don't take that shot. That's a bad shot. And he probably looks over at Joe, and Joe's just sitting there like, good job. Yeah. No, that's a good one. Take that shot. He's so funny. I love the Joe
because
ball.
If he missed it, they had no one there for the rebound. Because there was 2 Magic players and him, and he was just like, no, I'm confident, and just squared up and hit it. So yeah.
And that started a little run for him too. I think he hit like 3 threes within a span of 2 minutes or something.
I mean, really, I think when we talked about it, I said I'd rather see Atlanta than Orlando because Orlando had somehow as well a winning record against us. But yet watching that game, and just seeing our depth, B, Tatum, yes, his shot's not there, but just that strength to go to the basket, like he cannot be stopped in the paint when he does those little weird layup things or whatever. When he wants to go to the basket, that's an automatic foul. He's going to the foul line. And on Orlando's side, I mean, you only have one player.
We might finally get a whole playoff run of Jason Tatum realizing from the start, hey, I'm 6'9", like I can drive in, I can get to the bucket. I know that was a thing that we talked about a lot last year, although it didn't really matter because we were whooping teams up and down. Drew, I wasn't done with him.
Yeah.
So yes, hit some very crucial threes, great turnover. One of the most evident things to me about Drew Holiday, don't get me wrong, Drew played very well this year, but granted, I think this team had 15, 17 games together where the whole starting five was actually healthy and played together. This starting five that we saw and we'll see during the playoffs. So Drew didn't really none of these guys ever really got comfortable with the team that won the championship last year, the five that they played with. Drew had a good regular season. I'm not saying that isn't the case. What I am saying, though, is Drew Holiday, just like I kind of just said with Derek White, you know that this is what he's going to do in the playoffs because we saw this last year. There must be a switch that Drew Holiday turns on or something once it becomes playoff time.
Yeah,
because he looks like a completely different player, a completely differently motivated player on the court in the playoffs. It shows that he is a vet and his experience really shows in these times of the year. And I just can't get over how involved, how locked in he looked at all times on the court. Just being a defensive pest, 3 steals is nothing just to laugh off or anything. That's big stuff. He always makes an impact, and it's so great to see this version of Drew Holiday again, the same version that brought us to a title last year.
And, the switches, I mean, how many times in that third quarter he was switching off and then in the paint guarding Orlando's center. And they wouldn't even go down to him. He's a versatile defender. He's kind of like a guy like Marcus Smart, but yeah, you're right. I mean, there were in the third quarter opportunities where there's pick and rolls and they were willingly letting Drew Holiday take the switch on Wendell Carter in the paint. And it's so funny because you're seeing it. Drew's in front of him. Wendell's got a whole 6 inches on him or something, and they still aren't passing Wendell the ball. Yeah.
Even though they think it's a mismatch, they don't want that in his hands. No. And that goes to show the defensive capability of Drew Holiday.
Because I think what's probably in there, and Orlando probably knows, Carter is, once he catches it, he's going to put it down to the ground and try and make.
And that's getting stolen. Their hands in there.
At that point, he's not going to take the ball and keep it up high and then go. He's going to catch it and put it down. It's probably his style or whatever he does. And once that happens, Drew's just
especially if he's trying to back down Drew.
Yeah.
So great game. Really, I've got no pointers except for the fact that, don't need the hero ball from Tatum too much, but we say this all the time. All the Celtics fans know this. We, as much as the team lives and die by the 3, we also live and die by this version of Jason Tatum. It's just a matter of, are the shots going in today, or is he going to shoot us out of a game? He hasn't shot us out of a game in a long time here. And I think this is the worst we're going to see it, too, because of the fact that this is arguably the other best defensive team in the playoffs right now that we're going to see with the slow pace. Their whole game plan is probably slow down Tatum, but what the fuck are you going to do when there's 4 other guys out there that can all drain a 3, all drain a shot when you need to, and all pass around the ball? I think this is going to be Tatum's worst series because of the pace, because of the pressure they're putting on him. But I do think, next series, No, we're not supposed to look ahead, but I think we know how this is going to go. We're going to see Tatum get back to what he's been doing in the regular season, feeling a lot more comfortable with himself on the offensive end because there won't be as much of this pest pressure in his face, on his back all the time throughout the game.
When Tatum tries to go hero ball like he does, it seems like it affects Jalen as well.
It does.
To the point where Jalen wants to take it, himself, isolation ball. Can I use either my athleticism, my speed to get by the guy, or again, try and take a three? The thing is with the Celtic team is if you have two guys that are trying to play hero ball, 1A and 1B, your superstars, it's just amazing how, again, the complementary guys and Porzingis, even Luke Cornett, Al Horford, Derek, and Drew and Peyton, how they can play off of it. Once they get that ball, it's going up and they're scoring.
One thing that I don't mind Jaylen Brown wanting to play hero ball 2 and he sees Tatum do it because Jalen is way more active in trying to get towards the rim. I think, yes, that's probably because of his athleticism and how vertical we know he can get and how we know he can just go out there and catch a body on a dunk. He is way more active in trying to get towards the rim. Tatum will get it eventually. Don't get me wrong. He will get the fact that, hey, let's just drive. Let's just go up and get fouled. Let's get to the free throw line. Jalen likes to do that a little bit. He's just bigger too. But it's nothing to worry about. I mean, all of this, I feel like Tatum didn't have the best game. Jalen started off hot, kind of fizzled out near the end. And it doesn't matter because you still end up winning the game by almost 20. And that's just how I think this series is going to go. Let me say, too, I was thinking about this yesterday before or after the game. So 82 games in an NBA regular season, right? Out of the 4 major sports, I'd say the NBA is probably the one I care least to watch regular season games about. I don't know if that's just because I think most of it, the same time that the regular season is going on for the NBA, so it's college basketball. I'd much rather watch college basketball. I'd much rather watch football that's going on during that time. I'd much rather watch hockey. I enjoy hockey regular season when the Bruins aren't fucking sucking dick. All right? It might also come down to the fact that it is the only sport out of our 4 major sports that I know I could literally miss every single game from game 1 to game 82 and the Celtics will still make the playoffs. So I think that goes a little bit into it.
Yep.
But all of that said, man, I miss some NBA playoff ball. This is when I will stick to the screen and watch NBA ball as if my life depends on it. And I forgot how fun it is to root for this team with the playoffs on the line, just like last year's run. Seeing them out there, moving the ball, making their shots. TD Garden was loud. TD was excited. They were giving them the energy, especially for a team that didn't perform as well as you want them to at home, 28-13 at home this year. The crowd was still loud, pushing them to this victory. They'll do it again on Wednesday in Game 2. It's just so nice to see this version of Celtics basketball again. It's throwing me back to last year when we went on vacation and we were still doing these podcasts. Leading into, the second round, the Eastern Conference Finals that we were able to see together, bringing back some good memories. I'm so happy to see this version of Celtics basketball again and for us to actually be playing for something now. This is when our season starts. This is where, like I said last week or the week before, like Tatum mentioned, they're ready to go to war. We are in war now, and it is great to see. They are fun to watch. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with game 1. Not much I really want to nitpick here, and I feel like we see something similar out of them game 2, at least in Boston. And and then maybe it gets a little different come Friday or Sunday in Orlando. But if we see that same team that we saw last night, and they just fix a few things here and they're 2 days off between game two, I think we see another dominant performance out of them in Boston on Wednesday.
To your point about the four major sports, I think a lot of it also has to do with the coach, your coaching. If you take football, I mean, you got 11 guys that got to do something. I mean, your head coach in football, he's just got to worry about maybe some substitutions, his
making sure the coordinators are doing their jobs.
Yeah, and his timeouts. I mean, you have coordinators that are calling the plays and putting, the team in the right spot. Hockey as well. I mean, in there, when do I call a timeout? Line changes, but in hockey too, you have offensive and defensive coaches that are primarily probably doing line changes. You might want to shake up a line, and that's your input there. Baseball, yes, your manager has a lot, but yet he's dealing with, his pitching coach, is it time to bring so-and-so in, and the pitching
his hitting coach is in his ear about pinch hitters, and do we take
or
this
his
guy
bench coach,
or just analytics in general dictate his moves.
And baseball, yes, is huge about analytics. Don't get me wrong, yes, you have offense and defense in basketball too, coaches, but yet you're the one that's sitting there calling an isolation play or this play. You're the one that's up and down, walking up and down the court. When do I call the timeout? Obviously he's the one in the huddle, after a timeout, calling out a play. Yes, with input from his team, but I mean, when you look at the fact that, and I saw the Coach of the Year awards, I saw all the awards on TNT, and Emu from Houston being Coach of the Year, one of the finalists. Just look at the Celtic coaching staff over these last couple of years when you had Brad, Emu, and now Joe. I think that has a lot to do with this team's success.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of it started with Brad Stevens. Udoka was a good coach, don't get me wrong, and he's still doing the same thing in Houston with a young team. He is a good coach at heart. But I think Brad Stevens, even leading up to, when he went into the front office, he had just set up this team perfectly for whoever was going to come next. Udoka was able to, reap the benefits of that with a good team, with a good roster, with a talented scheme around him. But Joe Mazzulla took it to the next step with being that sort of player's coach for them, with their superstars in Tatum and Brown loving him, and that is a big thing. And while he may not be the most technically gifted coach, I guess, there's something to be said about the impact that he brings to the team with them trusting him as much and just fully listening, and just giving it up to Joe there. Whereas this team is talented enough to go iso ball every single possession if they wanted to, but he has really instilled this identity that the Celtics have, and by instilling that identity of how they play on the court, it has instilled the identity in the organization of being a winning organization and making the winning plays and making the winning calls as a coach and making the winning substitutions and making that extra pass to win a game, making that extra pass to get the open three. This just all goes on in the background of this team, and it's all been because of how Brad Stevens instilled the winning into the organization and how Joe Mazzulla has instilled winning into the team that is currently on the floor
Gameplay.
at all times.
Yep. Gameplay. Yep. Yeah. And that's why I think this team, I mean, we've said it all year long, can go deep. As much as Cleveland and we heard, going in the off season how the Knicks built up their team to try and stop, and Orlando has some length and great at stopping supposedly the 3 points. They are just so deep, and team play is going to have them just hopefully go and get championship number 19.
I agree. Well, that'll segue us here to.
I'm just so good today at the segues, aren't I?
Yeah, no, you're pretty good. Do you have the bracket up? NBA playoffs bracket?
I just pulled it up.
All right, perfect. Let's start left to right. We'll start with the West, and then we'll move on to the East. Up at the top here, Dad. Granted, all of these games or all these series are a game in. Couldn't do this last week because play-ins weren't done, so we didn't know what the matchups were actually going to be. But now we can finally do this with game one down. So starting up at the top, the Thunder and the Grizzlies. Thunder had an NBA record or historical performance in the largest game one victory in NBA history yesterday against the Grizzlies. We knew this, though. We know the Thunder are good. They are going to have a tough road once they get past this round. But I do see them having just too much firepower, and they are too deep for this Grizzlies team, I believe. And I don't know if we're going to see one out of the Grizzlies. I'm going to take the Thunder to advance here in 4.
Yeah, again, I think probably much like Orlando, the Grizzlies are a one-man really team. I mean, yes, they have Jackson as well, but I think they're going to look to Ja Moran to try and win games for them rather than a team play. And I think Ja will probably get injured at some point. And Oakland in 4.
Oakland? You mean Oklahoma City?
I mean Oklahoma City, yeah.
All right. Next series, the 4-5 matchup. And this is why I say it's going to be tough for the Thunder getting through that Western Conference. You beat the Grizzlies potentially here in a 4-game series. And what is your reward? Well, you get the winner of a Nuggets-Clippers series, both of which can very much take down the Thunder. It's just a matter of who is going to win this series. I think it's going to be a good one. I think it's going to go back and forth. Crazy game one that Denver was actually able to pull out. I thought the Clippers were going to take that one. And part of me, I think going into this series was high on the Clippers. They've been very hot at the end of the year. They're probably underseeded at a 5 here and a big threat to Denver. Let's not forget Michael Malone was fired 3 games before the end of the regular season. So you think that little hangover would come into the playoffs with them, but Denver was able to win game 1. Yes, you've got Nikola Jokic there. You've got a Denver team that has been there, done it before, got deep, won a championship. Ultimately, though, I think, like I said, this goes 7, and I'm going to trust the hotter team, the one that I think is going to be able to, in a game 7, shoot the lights out a little better, and that's going to be the Clippers. Give me the Clippers to advance in 7 here.
Yeah, I agree too. I think, it was probably a mistake to get rid of your coach so close to getting in the playoffs. I think, unfortunately, and yes, again, a finalist for the MVP and Jokic, but I think their window is closing very quickly. You have Murray and Porter Jr. and Westbrook has found some new youth out of it, but yet I think their window really is just starting to really close. And wild that you're a 4th seed and you were in the NBA Finals and won 2 years ago.
I think, yeah.
But yeah, I think this will close that window.
I don't know if it'll close it, but I definitely think you're right. I think it is closing. I think after this series, the idea of, oh, hey, this window might be closing is going to force itself into the mainstream media. I think it'll be, oh, are we seeing the end of the Nuggets? Was this a sign of what's to come in future seasons, unless they make some moves around Jokic in Denver?
Yeah, but I don't think they will. And I think they'll still be obviously a top 8 team, but yet you go from winning to making semis last year or whatnot, nice little run, to a 4 seed this year to now an 8th seed next year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. They did make semis because I think they lost to Minnesota in the semis in 6.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or 7. No, it went 7. I think they blew that game. I can't remember.
I mean, they're still going to be a talented team in the West. Don't get me wrong.
Just they're not going to be the Nuggets that we've feared for the last couple of years anymore.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep. All right, moving on to the... Oh, wait, did you have the Clippers here too?
Yes.
Or did you have the Nuggets?
No, I had the Clippers. Again, I think it is going to go 7, like you said.
And 7 as well. Okay.
And that might be the only reason why Oklahoma can get through, because these guys are going to beat each other up.
Yeah, but I also... There's that side of it, but the other side of the coin there is this going to be detrimental to OKC getting a sweep, having to wait for these teams to get ready for the second round, going 7, getting into a deep series, maybe not beating up on each other, but getting battle tested early on in round 1, and then going and facing still a younger team in OKC after you've had 7 games to get it together, really, offensively and defensively. The 3-6 matchup, the Lakers versus the Timberwolves. Minnesota is up 1-0 here. Happy to see that one. We always want to see the Lakers lose. As a Celtics fan, would be quite funny to see them knocked out in this first round. I really like the Timberwolves. I think this was a really shitty draw for the Lakers as the 3. I think the Timberwolves have the talent. They've got the guy in Anthony Edwards to do it in this series. Will they is a different story, though. And it was really fun to see him win game 1, and I think if they are going to win this series, it's going to have to be in 6. If you get to 7, the Lakers and LeBron and Luka are going to show what they do with their backs against the wall in a game 7. And I think that's what happened, sadly. I'm going to take the Lakers in 7, but this is going to be a back and forth series. And at any point, the Timberwolves could, it could be as easy as taking game 2 tomorrow. If they take game 2 tomorrow, all of what I'm saying goes into the dirt. All right? Because then I'm fully on board with this Timberwolves train. But all you had to do was steal 1 in LA, and they've done that. You can lose tomorrow and then just win your home games. We could be talking about this next week, and they could be 3-1 going into game 5. So, just don't sleep on the Timberwolves. I really like them. And then I've got a question for you once we're done with all this, and you'll understand why I'm saying that. But who do you have coming out of this Lakers and Timberwolves series, Dad?
I think it would be an absolute shame making that trade if the Lakers don't. As much as I would love to see LeBron one playoff round and out, I don't think it's going to happen as well. Anthony Edwards, again, what you said, he can shoot it and win it for him, but I think he's going to have back in game 3, he's going to have a bad shooting performance. It's going to be like 14 points, and the Lakers will then be up 2-1, and it's back to even, and they'll win in 7 back home in LA.
Okay. Next one here, last for the West, we're going to have the Rockets versus the Warriors in a heavy upset pick series. I've seen a lot of people on the Warriors here, and, understandably so. Warriors been here, done it before, got Steph Curry, can never sleep on him. Got Jimmy Butler now on this squad, and they've been working well together. You still got a great defensive presence in Draymond Green there. Is it going to be enough to get past this Rockets team? I don't know. It's up in the air. I really want to give the Rockets the benefit of the doubt here because I would love to see them go on and play. I think they're cool. It's still Udoka and they're young and they had a great season. But I am going to take the battle tested team. I am going to take the older team, the veteran team. Give me the Warriors here. Give me the Warriors in 6. I do think Rockets make this close. They probably win game 2, but this is probably one that goes, like I was saying with Minnesota, this is probably one that goes with Houston. They take game 2, but they go back to Golden State. Golden State's going to take both at home. This is a 3-1 series heading into game 5. Houston starves them off for one game and then ends up losing it in game 6. Give me the Warriors to advance here, even though I don't want to say it.
Yeah, no, I definitely looking at this matchup. It's a year too early for this young Rockets team. Great that you're the number 2 seed, but as you started off in saying, the NBA season is one thing and NBA playoffs is a whole nother thing. And if you haven't been there yet, yeah, you have a lot to learn. And I'm taking Golden State.
Okay. Moving on to the East first round here. We got the Cavs versus the Heat. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. I don't fully believe in the Cavs. We've been a hater of them all year. However, Miami just does not have enough anywhere on the court to stick with this team. Maybe they end up stealing one. I think that will happen, not because they're going to outplay the Cavs. I think the Cavs are just susceptible to having one game where they shit the bed and they lose it for them. They don't have Miami win the game. Cleveland is going to lose a game in this series. So give me the Cavs 4-1 over the Heat to advance here.
Likewise.
Pacers, Bucks, 4-5 seeds here. Bucks still playing without Damian Lillard. He's been dealing with those blood clot issues. I think he got cleared, but he's still doubtful to play as of right now. Don't think he will really get into this series. Even if they were to go 7, I think it's something that we wouldn't probably see Dame until maybe a game 4, game 5 of the next series, if they make it that far, let alone into the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't necessarily like the Pacers, but we've seen them do it. They did it last year. They beat this Bucks team last year. Wait, did they? I think they did. Or was it the Knicks that did it? And then they beat the Knicks. God, I can't. No, I think that was it. Because we played Cleveland second round. And we played Miami, Cleveland, Indiana. Yeah. Okay. All that to say, I still funny stat here too. You remember back in 2022 series against the Bucks, Celtics and the Bucks there? We're on vacation for this one too. That Tatum had an unbelievable, I think it was a game 6 there, when we were down 3-2. Ended up having us win that series and then go on to lose, I think, to the Heat that year. Giannis Antetokounmpo. The Milwaukee Bucks have not won a playoff game that he has been active in since that game 5 in 2022. Isn't that a crazy stat?
That is.
It's not all on Giannis. I think it all is on the rest of the team around him, that they are just not good enough to let him do what he needs to do and hope that he gets something else from the rest of the team. I've never really liked the Bucks this year. I think there's just too many moving pieces, too many question marks. I'm going to take the Pacers. I don't know how many, probably 6. I think that makes the most sense here. 4-2 for the Pacers. I just don't see the Bucks getting out of this one.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is another team's window is definitely closing. Unfortunately, fortunately probably for them, they're in the East. And there's nobody else that I see, yes, Orlando and Atlanta are getting better, but yet you still have the Heat, you still have Chicago. I don't think those teams are going to, in the near future, be able to compete or take a higher seed away from Milwaukee. They'll still be in these playoffs in the East, but they'll be a one and done. Take the Pacers.
Okay. Knicks Pistons, probably the most fun series that we have outside of that Lakers team. So both the 3-6, and whoever wins this will be matching up with the Celtics in the next round. A lot of people like the Pistons going into this series. I kind of did as well until I saw them play, because the Knicks have been a funny team this year. The Knicks cannot win against good teams in the East, but they will show up against inferior teams. And I think that's what showed in the first game between these two. The Pistons kept this game close, but eventually did just let it fall out of their hands. Sloppy, young play, like we know, inexperienced play. What we kind of expected and saw out of the Thunder last year, being so young coming into the playoffs. I think we're kind of seeing that out of the Pistons. I am going to take the Knicks. Before this, I would have said give me the Knicks in 6. After seeing game 1, I'm going to say give me the Knicks in 5. I don't think the Pistons pull out more than 1.
Yeah, I think obviously they're very much a surprise team to be doing what they've done, especially with some inferior seasons before. And, when you get, high lottery picks and you get it right, you can make it. But again, the common theme throughout this whole thing is that you're young, you did well in the regular season, but the playoffs are different. And yeah, you saw it there. I don't, and I agree to your point. I don't have great confidence in the Knicks to be able to go a deep run, especially fortunate for us, even though you got a 3 seed. Yeah, I don't see, you got a somehow got a great seed by getting number 3. And to your point, you beat up on the teams that you were supposed to. And again, the East just has a lot of inferior teams that you could beat up on. So take New York, take it in 6.
Okay. And then Celtics Magic. I would have maybe said Magic in or Celtics in 5, but after seeing how they played yesterday with Tatum playing so bad, but still being able to pull that one out by 20, give me the Celtics on a sweep.
Yeah, I think the only other team, on the board except besides Oklahoma City will sweep this.
Okay. Before we run through the rest of the rounds really quickly, give me 3, because I'm looking at it. Now that we're 1 game in, you can still bet series winners. And some of these series prices have caught my eye. I'm looking at one here. It's a 3-leg bet slip. You can't really see that too well. But being down 1-0 in both of these 2 series, you can take, for my 3, the Lakers at plus 118, the Clippers at plus 118, and the Pacers at minus 280. Put them all together for a plus 554 or plus 544 parlay to win the series. Give me 3 teams, even if they're down potentially, maybe it's or up. Minnesota that still has a decent price because they weren't favored coming into the series. Give me 3 that you think, if you were to pick series winners, where they stand right now after game 1, to give yourself a nice little fun parlay to advance. Who are you taking?
I'll take Golden State. I'll take the Knicks and the Pacers.
Okay. I like it. All right. So we'll move through these very quickly then, because I think we agreed on everything here, right? In the first round?
Yep.
Okay. So Thunder, Clippers, second round. Who do you got?
OKC.
Okay. Oh man, I really want to say the Clippers, but give me OKC. Give me OKC in 6. It's going to be a tough 6 though. It's going to beat them up a little bit with the Clippers. So then we got Lakers, Warriors, the series that everybody wants to see. Luka and LeBron versus Jimmy and Steph here in the second round. Who do you have taking that one, and how many games?
I got Golden State in 7.
Okay, this is where we differ. I'll take the Lakers in 7 there. Still go 7 games though. God damn it. Is this really what I want to do? Fuck. I'm looking at this now, and I didn't want this to be my NBA playoff bracket. Cavs versus the Pacers, second round of the Eastern Conference.
I'm going to take the Pacers because they did it last year. Playoff basketball.
Dude, I like it. I really do. I just don't trust this Cavs team. And the Pacers can definitely lose themselves some games, but I think they're going to be able to run with Cleveland, and it's going to make it uncomfortable for Cleveland. Give me Indiana in 7. I wanted to say 6, but give me 7. Give me Indiana in 7 there. And then the Celtics and Knicks in the second round.
Celtics
I think
in 5.
Yeah, Celtics in 5. The Knicks just cannot beat good teams. And I would put my life on the line saying that the Knicks are not going to beat the Boston Celtics 4 times in a 7-game series. So give me the Celtics in 5. The Knicks will pull one out, but then the Celtics will turn it on. So that means in the Western Conference Finals, I've got the Thunder and the Lakers. You have the Thunder and the Warriors. Give me your Western Conference champion, Dad.
I'm going to say Golden State in 7.
So you're part of this crowd because I've heard this a lot of another little matchup, a little finals rematch. The Celtics Warriors here. Give me the Lakers. I think this was always in the cards after the Luka trade. Everybody, the NBA, rigged or not, wants to see Lakers Celtics with banner 18 and 19 on the line for both. I think that's just what we're going to see. I think it's been written. It's been written on the wall since the Luka trade. I think the Lakers will pull it out. I think this is where it'll finally catch up to OKC being so young, playing against a Luka and a LeBron, having the Clippers beat up on you. This will go 7 games, definitely. It'll be a great series, but give me Luka and LeBron in Game 7 to take out this Thunder team. It's going to be an interesting series, though. I don't know how it's going to go. I don't know how they will get to 7 games. But I do think it happens. Give me the Lakers out of the West in 7. And then out of the East, we get a rematch of last year's Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah.
That Cleveland will be watching from the couch. Give me the Celtics in 6. I think Indiana really learns off of what we did to them last year. I think whereas defensively, they're not going to be anything against us, really, but they're still going to be able to run, and that's going to be their game plan. And, all of us are looking back, and we remember it was a sweep last year, but let's not forget, Indiana played us very tough. It was a very, very interesting 4-game sweep, very tight games, and just good basketball all around. I think this year they take a step forward. They're able to take 2 games from us, go to 6. But they end up losing this one. Do you have it in 6 as well, or?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I agree. I think they'll, if it wasn't for a remarkable shot at the end, they would have won 1 game against us. So yeah, I think it'll be at least an overtime loss at home for us. We'll blow them out 1 game. They'll win 1 of theirs at home, if not 2 at home. But yeah, we'll have home court and we'll win it.
Okay. And our championships, you've got Warriors, Celtics. How many games do the Celtics win it in, Dad?
Celtics will win it against the Warriors in 5.
I was going to say that if I did have the Warriors, but I have the Lakers. I've got Celtics winning it in 6. But I think you're right. I think if it is the Warriors, it'd be 5 games. And Jason Tatum gets his revenge. Celtics team gets their revenge over the Warriors in your scenario from 2022 on the road to back-to-back titles. So that was pretty fun. All right, we took up a lot of time talking about the Celtics here, but that was good. It was a good breakdown of it. So because of that, let's speed through this NHL Stanley Cup real quick, Dad. No Bruins, so not much really to talk about here, but we do want to give a winner just to say we were able to. I've got it here from the NHL playoff bracket on their website, and we'll go the same way through the West. So starting up top, Winnipeg versus St. Louis, round 1 in the West. Winnipeg up 1-0. Give me the Jets in 5. I want to say 6. I want to give some credit to the Blues. Jim Montgomery, they've been hot recently, but Winnipeg is a different team.
Yeah. I was going to say the Jets in 5 as well.
The Dallas Stars versus the Colorado Avalanche. This is probably my most anticipated series. I love both of these two teams out of the West. I think they play very fun. I think whoever comes out of this series has a very good shot at winning the West, and potentially even the Stanley Cup. Yes, Colorado is up 1-0, but all year I have really thought this is going to be the Dallas Stars year, and I still believe that. Give me them to come back and win this series in 7 over the Avalanche.
I got the Avalanche in 6.
Okay. Vegas Golden Knights versus the Minnesota Wild. Vegas is up 1-0 right now. Minnesota, they're sitting in the same spot in both the NBA and the NHL. That's funny. In that third game at the bottom. Minnesota was a fun story all year, and they've got Kaprizov back, I think is how you say his name, recently, and he's become a guy for them. I've learned this through my Minnesota friend fans that have said that, they've really turned on to another level since he's been back, but I still just don't think it's enough to beat this Vegas Golden Knights team, Bruce Cassidy, in the playoffs. Vegas plays very tough around this time of the year. Give me Vegas to advance in this one in 5.
Likewise, Vegas in 5.
And then the Kings in Edmonton. I swear to God, we see this fucking series every year in the first round. These teams cannot escape each other, but Edmonton will escape LA pretty quickly in this series. Give me Edmonton to advance in 5 here.
Yep, I was going to say the same thing. Edmonton in 5.
Okay. And don't get me wrong, the Kings are a good team. Second seeded out of their division here, but they just cannot beat this Edmonton team. They really just can't come the playoffs. Round 1 in the East, we got Toronto versus Ottawa. I'm not going to put too much thought into this one. Shout out to Ottawa making it into the playoffs. I'm sure they're excited for that, and that counts as a successful season for them. They are not going out of their way to try to beat Toronto here because they know they are probably overmatched. I think they're overmatched pretty well. Give me Toronto in 5 here. I do think Ottawa sneaks one away.
Yeah, as much as I want to say sweep, it's just the Battle of Ontario. Somehow Ottawa will win 1 at home. Yep, Toronto in 4.
Yep. Tampa Bay versus Florida, another two teams that I swear to God they match up every single year in round 1. They want that Florida matchup. Florida being the lower seed here, so the first 2 games are going to be played in Tampa Bay, but fans are going to travel. You're right there in Florida. I'm not, as much as I hate them, at least this year I have a little something to root for them for when it comes to Brad Marchand getting another ring. The defending champs are not done yet. Give me Florida in 6 to advance in this one.
I got Florida in 7. Okay. Overtime win.
Washington versus Montreal, another team in Montreal that just barely snuck in, but I just think they are going to be outmatched here by a Washington team that I've never really believed in this year, but have remained consistent. Give me Washington in a sweep here over Montreal.
I am, as much as I would like to say that, and Washington actually, President's Cup winner, Ovi,
no.
Great story.
No, it was Winnipeg,
no?
I think.
Oh, it was one. Nah, look that up.
I'm pretty sure.
Look that up. I'm going to take, though, I think this is the year that Canadian hockey is going to be.
It was the Jets.
Looking really good. I'm going to take Montreal, who upset them a few years back in the series. I'm taking Montreal in 6.
Interesting. And then last one of these, Carolina versus the New Jersey Devils. Watch this game alongside the Celtics one yesterday, and man, Carolina looks good. Jack Hughes missing from this New Jersey team as of right now is just going to be too much for New Jersey to overcome. I think Carolina's just too talented, and I have them sweeping New Jersey.
I was going to say that same thing. Yeah, Carolina, I think we'll sweep them. This will be your only sweep of this first round.
Okay. Moving on then, round 2 of the West. We both have Winnipeg. You have Colorado. I have Dallas. Give me Dallas to advance over Winnipeg in 7. What do you have between Colorado and Winnipeg?
I got Colorado in 6.
Okay. Vegas Golden Knights versus Edmonton. We both have this in the second round. This is going to be a great series. I feel like we see this a lot as well. But I'm going to stick with you here. As you're saying, I think this is a year for Canadian hockey. Give me Edmonton to win this series in 7.
Yep, I was going to say the same thing. Edmonton
We
in
are
7.
locked in today, Dad. We are just on the same wavelength. Round 2 of the East, we'll have Toronto versus Florida. Everything in my body is telling me that Toronto loses this series because we are Bruins fans and we see Toronto fizzle out at the worst time of the year for them every single year in these tough matchups. But like Florida's sitting there, and we know what Florida can do around the Stanley Cup playoffs. However, I think we're going to see some sort of injury or something that's going to fuck up Florida coming out of this Tampa Bay series. We know these two teams play each other like a dog fight. They play physical. They beat the hell out of each other. I think Florida's going to come in limping a little bit, and Toronto will take this one in 6.
Yeah, I'm taking Toronto in 7. I just think, again, maybe some tired legs, and Florida's goalie is going to see a lot of shots first series and definitely second series. And as much as he's a different beast in the playoffs, he's going to see way too many shots.
How many games?
7.
Okay. Last Eastern Conference, round 2. You have Montreal versus Carolina. I have Washington versus Carolina in a battle of 2 sweeps. Who do you have coming out?
I got the Hurricanes in 5.
I'll have the Hurricanes in 6 over the Capitals. Or the Crapitals. I don't believe in them this year. All right, so to get our Western Conference final, Yeah. I have Dallas and Edmonton, correct? You have Colorado and Edmonton. Who wins the West for you?
I got Colorado winning in 7.
I've got Dallas winning in 5 over Edmonton. And then in the East, we both have Toronto versus Carolina. This will be a fun series. Dad, who do you have coming out of the East?
Yeah, it would be awesome living here in Carolina, close to seeing them go, but I think it'll be Toronto in 7.
Okay. Yeah, I think you're right. I really want to bring them all the way there. I think with no Bruins, it would be cool to at least root on the Hurricanes and see them win a cup here locally. But I just finally think this might be Toronto's time. We saw Carolina that looked very good, very lethal last year, go up against Florida and then get swept in the Eastern Conference Final. There's just, once they get there, it's a different tier with this team and being that deep in the playoffs. I just don't know if they can do it. So give me Toronto, but give me Toronto in 6. And then that gives us our Stanley Cup final. I have Dallas versus Toronto. You have Colorado versus Toronto.
Yep.
Who do you have taking the cup home and in how many games?
It ends. The drought ends. Canadian hockey. Even though I love what the Avalanche did at the trade deadline and revamping the whole team, I think it'll be Toronto in 6.
Okay. This is where I think Toronto falls flat on their face. I think they get so close, but just lose it again. Like I said, I really like this Dallas team, and I think they can do it. I think it's a battle in my Stanley Cup here of 2 teams that I think are right there at the doorstep. But Dallas has been at the doorstep for the last couple of years, whereas this will be the first year that Toronto gets there and is knocking on the door. They're not going to get let in yet. Let me get the Stars to raise the cup in 6 games.
All right.
Flew through that one. Let's go. All right. Celtics done. Playoffs done. Sox really quickly. What am I looking at? Better week. What did we say? We wanted 5-2. We wanted 5-2 out of this team. And I think that's what we got. We got 2-1 against the Rays after losing the first game 16-1. Lost that game by so many runs that it probably could have counted as 2 losses. But that's the beautiful thing about baseball. It doesn't. You got a new game tomorrow. 2-1 against the Rays, win that series, coming back from an 0-1 deficit, and then play the White Sox again. We are still in the middle of a series. We play them again in the last game of the series in about 2.5 hours, which is nice. We got some daytime baseball. Started out the series hot with 2 wins, 10-3, 4-3. Lost yesterday, 8-4. They are trying to salvage the series with a split today. We are trying to outright win the series, but it has got us to where we needed to be. This is 4-2 on the week. Wait, yeah, because we missed Thursday. So we didn't say 5-2. We had said 4-2 because they played today.
Well, no, we said we would like a 5-2 week.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying they didn't play Thursday.
Well, yeah.
So we took them all the way through the White Sox. We took it
through the White Sox series, yeah.
Okay, so
and they're not going to lose on Marathon Monday.
It is Marathon Monday, isn't it? Yeah, okay. No. Yeah, no, they're not losing this. Who's pitching for us today?
Walker.
It is? Yeah.
Yep.
No, I like him then. Give me the Sox today to win that one and move to 13-11 in the AL East. 2.5 games out from the Yankees right now as the Yankees had a good week. But that's fine. You win this one. I'm very happy with that week, even dropping the 2, even dropping 1 to the White Sox. A lot of Red Sox fans are kind of pissed that the White Sox have won 5 games total this year, and 3 of them, I think, or 4 of them so far have been against the Red Sox. 3 of them, I think, which is pretty gross. But no, you're right. They win the one on Marathon Monday. This is what they do. Walker's going to throw a gem today, and then we can look ahead at the remainder of the week. We got the Mariners, new series tomorrow at home, 3 games against the Mariners, and then Friday travel to Cleveland for a weekend series against them, and 3. Dad, what do you have for the rest of this week of the Sox?
I was thinking about this, and obviously our biggest problem is the bullpen right now.
Like those middle relief guys, though. The end of the bullpen has been good. It is your 5 through 7 guys that are causing us some big problems recently.
Yeah. And, it's a shame to sit back and watch, our ace, and even after, a tough inning, Tanner in the first, end up doing, lights out the rest. And these guys leaving in the 6th and then letting Zach Kelly come in and blow a lead. So tough. And while thinking about this, I'm like, okay, well, if you can go positive, yes, we lost obviously to, the Rangers and the White Sox to give us in this almost 500 hole that we could be in, going back and forth. Yeah, you're at 500, you're above, you're tied for 500, you're up, you're down. If we can just win the series, then, you start to
create separation.
But unfortunately, I think this Guardians team being at home will take one of 2. So I think we're going to go
3-3.
3-3.
Okay. I'm with you. I don't think it's the Guardians series that they take 2. The Guardians have been, scary team kind of for the last couple of years, but I'm not as scared of them this year. I think you end up winning that series 2-1. I think it's the Mariners one that we do drop 1 at home. I think a lot of emotion going into today's game, winning this series, making sure you don't lose or tie a series to the White Sox in 2 straight weekends. You have Brian Bayo making his return more than likely tomorrow against the Mariners for his season debut. I think all the emotion of today, all the emotion of Bayo coming back, I think it just leads to a Red Sox loss tomorrow, and I think they drop 1 more against the Mariners somewhere in that series. I've got 3-3 as well, but I think it's the Mariners series at home that we end up dropping. But that'll put us at what? After a win today, 13-11, 16-14 going into next week, which still above 500. You just continue to ping pong back and forth, I guess.
And you do make a great point. We play today, but at 11 o'clock. So you're done early by 1:30. The Mariners are off, so they're flying in today. And Brian is definitely going to be on a pitch count.
I'd say 80.
Yeah, you might
85.
not see him. If the Mariners take a lot of pitches, you might not see him get out of the fourth. I hope he gets to the fifth.
The same thing, yeah.
But if they take pitches, he only goes to the fourth, and then, I'm
those
scared.
blow-up innings happen, yeah.
Yeah. So, again, we need to see. I don't know why the first man out is always Zach Kelly. I want to see Garrett Whitlock the first man out.
I agree 100%. I don't know how many times we're going to have to do this thing with Kelly back and forth until Cora just fucking finally realizes that it needs to be Whitlock first. But that's why we have 162 games.
And I pulled this up really quick. Roman Anthony's path. I got this on Fanside. And where is his path to come in? Obviously, we need bullpen help. And it says here, or Roman Anthony's path to Boston Red Sox should involve trading outfield depth for bullpen help. And yeah, I mean, we can't trade
Zidane.
So
you're saying move Zidane?
It did say Zidane, but my first thought here, more than anything, and I know you love him, but you have a guy, and he's not going to get you anything big in return, huge, but he is 8 games, batting .350. I would love, I hate to say it, but move Rob.
Yeah, I've got no problem moving Rob. I like Rob just as a utility guy.
Yeah. I was looking at the roster. I'm like,
for a while, but I don't.
There's no clear path unless you want to trade Zidane, which I think is wrong because he is locked up and his defense is unbelievable. The only other way, because you're not moving Romy because his versatility, you can't move David Hamilton because he can come in at second.
And he's got the speed.
Or short and speed. So you move Rob, you might get something middle, a little help in that middle.
It might just be a AAA reliever guy as of right now, but you're right. I think he is the only roster spot that'll be available for Roman. However, and don't get me wrong, I fully agree. I see it every single day. Roman is going crazy, and he is forcing the Red Sox hand into an uncomfortable decision. Like you talked about last week, I think. I don't know why we haven't started to get him some reps at first. I think that needs to be the move because it can't be Abreu. People are going to call for Abreu. He's playing like one of the best players in the MLB right now. It's not going to be Duran.
No.
It may be Zidane, but I think if you move Zidane, you are at risk. Roman's probably going to be great defensively too, but it's not going to be that great. You're arguably getting rid of a guy that could be a platinum gold glove winner or a platinum glove winner out there in the outfield for multiple years to come. You said, yes, we have him for 8 years on a cheap contract. Yes, it's team friendly, so maybe you get something in return for him there because of the money and everything. But I just don't think you can give up that defensive versatility because all it takes and what I know will happen if you move on from Zidane and you bring Roman up, you're going to run into an injury to a Duran or an Abreu, and you're going to be kicking yourself thinking, damn, I wish we still had Rafaela right now.
Yeah, yeah. And I bet you, though, the only reason why we haven't seen Roman, and he's listed in Worcester as a DH, he might be taking first base reps during practice, but he's not playing in the game because that is just going to put so much crap into Tristan's head. And as much as he's been hitting the ball hard, it's just going to people. But hitting 167, already dropped in the lineup. Yes, his defense is really helping out a lot. But I think by bringing Roman up, and then having Rafaela or Roman play some first here.
Rafaela can't play first.
I mean, I'm sorry, Roman or Rafaela playing first there, giving Tristan some time off instead of, although you already have Romy, who has been playing a lot of first. That's the only path.
It is. No, you're right. It's the only path.
Because you don't want to trade Tristan now. And then if Rafi
Roman doesn't work out at first,
or Roman don't work out at first, then you're screwed. Yeah.
Yeah. Man, I'm trying my very hardest to continue to give him a long leash, but it is getting hard to defend Tristan Cassius.
Yep.
I know you're saying he's hitting the ball hard. We know it's going to people. Yes, he's almost getting out of the park. Yes. But how many almost are we going to give him? How long of a leash are we going to give him until you finally just say fuck it and bring up a guy who is absolutely tearing up the ball in AAA right now? I don't know. And I love Cassius and all of the Red Sox guys that we want it to work out. We want to finally see it come to fruition. But I mean, I think how bad Tristan Cassius has been doing to start the year was covered up by the whole Devers can't hit. At the same time, I mean, he went 7 games without getting a hit. Cassius was like 1-27 at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And Devers has at least got back to where we know he can be, and he's playing great now. But we have not seen that bounce back from Tristan. I just don't know if best case scenario we're going to get him for a 220, 230 hitter. I think he might sit around 190, 200 for a long time this season. And the longer we go on, the harder it is to defend having a guy that's hitting 170, 180 in the lineup when you have Roman Anthony in the works waiting to come up and hit a good 270 for you. So, I don't know.
And this is his contract year. So,
you
got to unload him before the trade deadline when he's hitting maybe 220.
Yep, I agree. All right. You got my screen up here, Dan. We'll get to our last segment here before we get out. It is draft week. It is NFL draft week. We will finally see what happens with this number 4 pick and the Patriots come Thursday and all their other picks. And we'll see if Vrabel's got the right idea with this draft class. We've done one mock draft before. It was a couple weeks ago. And this will be our final one after going through all the positions, having our top 10 at every position. This will be our final one, going through all of the Patriots picks and giving our official a new era mock draft 2.0, the one going into Thursday night. So we'll start it off here. Dad, I've got 99 seconds per round for us to make our pick. I think 60 seconds last time was a little too quick. We're going all 7 rounds. We are still going to fly through this, but just for the Pats, regular trades are on. If we would want to make any, I say for the sake of this, we try to pick at our picks because we don't know what moves will be made. But computer to computer trades are off on this as well. So everybody's really going to stick in their spot. Here we go. All right, starting the draft here, we've got Shador number 1. This is so random because we know this is going to be Cam. I don't know why this is happening. Travis Hunter 2, Abdul Carter 3, and this leaves us in a shitty situation because this is what we think may happen if Hunter and Carter are off the board. Cam is going first, so Shador would be there, but we're not going to need to go after him either. Are you buying into any of the hype around some people saying maybe you take a Genti at 4, or do we go with what I think Vrabel would be thinking here if Hunter and Carter are both off the board? It's probably, from what I'm hearing, going to be a Will Campbell, right?
And I pulled up I got this from PFF.com, New England Patriots top 10 big board, and they have Will Campbell, the third player on their big board, and it says a primary need and need label for Will says a star.
Yeah, I like it. You know how much I've liked Will Campbell even before this college football season started. I think people are trying to worry themselves too much, buying into the thing in their heads about the small arms. But
yeah,
this guy has been labeled a generational tackle prospect for a while now, and I think we just trust that and trust his ability and trust his growth under Vrabel. So we're going to take Will Campbell at 4 here. And I think that's a good pick. I think we need that help. We know we need that help on the offensive line. He's a good player, man, and I really like him. I think he's going to be a great leader too, young leader, very vocal. And you pair up a guy like him, so young, with Drake, and if it works out, you continue to align their contracts together. You've got your quarterback and your left tackle signed long-term and together long-term to continue to build that chemistry that you'll have, along with being pretty safe from the right side of your line with Morgan Moses there, who has looked fucking ripped, by the way. If you haven't seen any of his workouts or anything, he looks ready to go like he could play tomorrow. All right, so we're moving through the rest of this first round. Ashton Genti did end up slipping all the way to 18 to the Seahawks, which I don't see him going to Seattle. They got too many running backs there, but whatever. We don't care what happens to the other teams. We just need to see what happens with us. What is this? Rumors from the NFL per Adam Schefter. Players on rookie contracts that could be deemed expendable during the NFL draft and traded. Ooh. Will Levis, Treylon Burks, Kayvon Thibodeau, Jalen Hyatt, Sam Howell, Greg Newsome, Travis Etienne, George Pickens, Rashad White.
You know, I wouldn't
and Kayshon Boutte.
I would not mind seeing Will Levis as our third quarterback.
I hate Will Levis. I think he sucks. I think he's really bad. All right, we're coming up here on our second round pick. Thinking the first one we did, we took a wide receiver here, and it looks like he is going to fall to us. Jaden Higgins went at 37 ahead of him here to the Raiders. He's staring us in the face, Dad. Is this Matthew Golden? If he drops all the way here to 38, I think you have to take him if you're the Pats, correct?
Yeah, I think that he could learn behind Stephon Diggs. Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to take Matthew Golden there. Not going to think too much about it. Could be something else there. You know, there is Colson Loveland sitting here, tight end from Michigan that was available. Would have liked him, but I think you're still in need of a receiver, especially with that report just coming out that Kayshon Boutte is expendable, maybe for some trade capital, draft capital. So I think Golden is probably, or a wide receiver is probably the pick there. I was going to say something, then I just fucking lost it. Whatever. I don't remember what it is. I wish I could speed this up so we could get to our picks. I don't really care about who's going outside of this here. Do you think we get one of our top 10 guys at every position for the rest of this draft, even once we get later in?
No.
No. Okay. All right. Does it tell us? I mean, we know our needs, but I thought there was something that told us like the draft needs at that time. Oh, it tells you here. Okay. Who are you thinking we should target here? Pick 69 in round 3 then. Got the offensive tackle, got the wide receiver. I think this would probably be a defensive pick. Linebacker or safety would maybe be my call.
I think we have enough through the free agency for linebackers. I think we have to go like a D tackle.
Really? Even with Milton Williams, even with Christian Barmore coming back.
Yeah,
Deion
I
White,
think
Phil
still.
Landry off the edge.
I still think either an offensive guard or a D tackle if we can find something
Okay, well, I would have said, and I know
in a
you love him,
rotation.
if the Raiders didn't take him, Xavier Watts just went mocked right behind us. That would have been a great pick. Pick 3.
Yep.
You know, we both love him. We'll look at the D line here. You got Jared Ivey, an edge out of Ole Miss. Shamar Turner, D line out of Texas A&M. If you're looking at D line, that might be your guy right there. I won't lie. What else did you say? What other positions?
Guard.
Guard. Next highest guard available, Dylan Fairchild out of Georgia, Miles Frazier, LSU, or I think we kind of just wait on this one. I think at this point it would be a Shamar Turner. I think that's the best fit available for you. So we'll take him round 3, pick 69, short the D-line. Next, we'll look at that offensive guard, like you were saying, and then I do think we go hit corner or safety.
Yep.
Some sort of DB back there in the secondary. We'll look at this O-line and see who's going. Fairchild's still sitting there. A lot of these guys, there's a lot of top offensive tackles here. Well, not top, but Donovan Jackson, who we both had in our top 10, is still sitting here. I don't think he's a guy that would be able to transition into a guard. Talent-wise, I'd really like him. Maybe if you don't pick a Will Campbell and you get an Abdul Carter at 4 if he ends up dropping, and then you take a Donovan Jackson in the 3rd round then, because you're just flipping your D-line help and your O-line help. I'd really like Donovan Jackson there. We're looking at pick 77, and he's still sitting here in round 3. We have 8 picks.
I mean, hey, if he does pan out to be that tackle, you could always move Will Campbell inside. Because I think even though we got the guy from Minnesota as center, Cole Strange could play center for you too.
Good. Do you want to do that, or do you? I mean, I like him for the pure best lineman available. He's also the best available player as of right now.
I was going to say, well, if he's the best available player right now, and where are your cornerbacks?
Corners, DBs, Darian Porter, Iowa State. Makuba out of Texas, he was a top 10. Castro, we both liked a lot. Safety out of Iowa. Maybe we take him here instead because we're kind of forcing a Donovan Jackson pick. I really like a Sebastian Castro pick here. That's going to be yours?
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Perfect. Now we'll take him there. Round 3, pick 77. All right. Next pick, we wait until round 4. Pick 106. So this one, is this where you want to go? This is where maybe a Dylan Fairchild does end up dropping to us. Or looking at the other guards, like I said, Miles Frazier out of LSU. Who else? Jackson Slater out of Sacramento State. We did take him in our original mock draft, I remember. I think we got him in the 5th or something like that. So there might be some guys available. If it wasn't a guard here in round 4, what position are you looking for? I know we just got a safety. Would it be the cornerback help here, double dip on the secondary?
Yeah, I think it would be that. Again, I was thinking linebacker, but we did very well free agent wise linebacker, so either a cornerback or a guard.
You're right. It's good point of you to bring up that we did do really well free agency wise with the linebackers. I mean, we talked about it when free agency happened, but you and me specifically, we know him. We know his name all too well because he has beat us in our IDP league over the last couple of years. Robert Spillane going in there and being your center of your defense there. That go get him linebacker that you need. He can even rush a little bit if he's needed to. I think with such a home run signing, it allows you to wait a little bit. We have 2 5th-round picks, one at 144 and one at 171. If you're going to take a depth linebacker, I think you're able to wait until then. All right, here we go. We are looking at round 4, pick 106 here. We'll look what's available, best available. Devin Neal catches an eye, Kevin Winston Jr., Jared Wilson, Zy Alexander. We're looking at cornerbacks, right? Zy Alexander, who I think we both had in the top 10, lower down on that board, is still available. Noel Williams out of Cal. Kobe Bryant out of Kansas, Mello Dotson out of Kansas, Quincy Riley out of Louisville. Top 5 corners. I'm fine with taking Cy Alexander here.
Yeah.
The only guy that we still had in our top 10, and I like him at the 4th round as a depth corner. All right, there we go. We'll wait a couple more picks to get to round 5. We're getting to the end here, Dan. We're speeding through this one. Mock Draft 2.0. It's going to come and go before we know it. We'll look at the best available as we wait here. As we've kind of hit, these are all of the positions going into the draft, in my mind, as far as the needs. All 5 of these, I think we've hit all 5. And I think, to me, it's almost in this order. I'd say offensive tackle 1, wide receiver 2. I'm going to go secondary. I don't care if it's a safety or a corner. You take a secondary guy 3, I think, as your 3rd most need. Then go D-line, then go corner, safety, whoever you don't take. So I think it's almost in this order and right alongside what I actually do think we'll end up drafting come this weekend. A lot of these guys, maybe this, I just say this because I see his name pop up here. Oh, yeah, he's still there. Maybe this is a time for like a 5th round, 144. Seen a lot about him if he does end up dropping to us here. And seen a lot of people in their mock draft saying he's been dropping too low. Jordan James out of Oregon, running back. I could see it here if he ends up dropping to us at 144.
Yeah, I mean, Ramondre, obviously, we want to keep him, even though he can be a 3-down back. Keep him definitely your 1st and 2nd, and you need a pass catching or even vice versa, having a running back that can take your 1st down and having Ramondre, 2nd and 3rd.
I was just looking at Jane on Blue there because I thought that was the guy that had the number 140, or was it Tootin? I think it was him. Yeah. All right, we're coming up on our pick here. Jordan James didn't end up going. There are some running backs available, but we'll look. All right. I think it's either guard or running back here, or maybe a tight end. We can look at both.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. Well, no, let's go guard.
Go guard. I mean, there's Jackson Slater sitting there. Are we going to make him a 2-time mock draft pick, or there's still some guys here that we can get one of these? Specifically, you see him. We had him there, Luke Lackey, that we could probably get later on in the 5th. So I like it. Taking Jackson Slater here, the guard. Yep. Welcome back to New England, Jackson Slater. Surely now that we've mocked him twice to New England, that obviously means that he will be a Patriot come this weekend, correct?
Yeah. And the fact that he was at Sacramento State, a previous pick with Mape.
Mm-hmm. All right, I like it here. I just saw a punter go in the 5th round from Alabama. This thing is so wacky. I should have brought the craziness scale down to like 1, so at least Cam Ward would have maybe went. Okay, over here we got the guard. I'm going to look at some of these running backs still. Round 5. There's still some guys here that honestly we might be able to wait till round 7. What, you saw? Raheem Sanders?
I saw Gordon.
Ollie Gordon. I know, we've picked him too. I like Ollie. I think we took Ollie. I think we traded for a 6th round pick in the 1st one. We took Ollie in the 6th. I don't know if I like him in the 5th. Definitely like him in the 7th. I don't know if he'll make it all the way there. We're going to have to see. Or it's the tight end here, which there's still, I think that's got to be our guy. If we get him here to 171, which is getting down to it. The other one's still available, Jake Brenningstool, who we did both have, I think, 6 or 7 in the tight end rankings. But as we are 2 picks away, Nick Nash going to Buffalo. I like that. Here we go. After a place kicker goes to Buffalo, no trade proposals on the market for us. This is our guy, Luke Lackey, out of Iowa, correct? Take the tight end. I think that's a guy that Vrabel's just going to love in this system. And we're going to see Vrabel and Josh McDaniels. I think a lot of that is going to be impacted by Josh McDaniels for that pick specifically. All right, so now we're going to have to wait all the way until round 7. This is where I wish I could just speed this motherfucker up.
You should
But I
have
don't
kept
know
it
how
at
to.
60.
Well, it's not per their pick; it's for our pick.
Oh,
It doesn't speed it up for them. This still just goes as fast as it goes. All right, I'll keep an eye on the running backs here as we get through. DJ Giddens, never mind, taken by Jacksonville just as soon as I said that. Ollie Gordon, taken by Baltimore, 6th round. Yeah, so we did trade in the 6th for him then. Our guy Jack Kaiser going to Notre Dame. Jaden Reed, safety, going to the Steelers. This is just a run of all of our guys that we had lined up there. That was crazy. 3 of our favorite guys just went. There's still some running backs here, though. Jaden Blue, very fast 40, like I was just looking at. Doesn't look like a lot of these teams need running backs necessarily. Raheem Sanders, who I had in my top 10, I think I had him at 10. Or no, I had him at 9 because I had Taj Brooks, who's sitting right there at 10 as well. Donovan Edwards, I know you like Donovan a lot. I think you had him pretty high in your rankings.
yeah.
Still sitting there on the board. Would you say, looking at the running backs here, there goes Raheem, with Ramondre already there. And we do love Ramondre, but what are you looking for more out of a running back? Is it a guy that you can trust as pass catching back more as a third down? Or are you looking for more of a bowling ball guy that can get you the 1 to 2? Draft complete. No, it's not. We still have round 7. All right. Well, I guess we're not getting to round 7. I don't know what just happened there, but we're not going to get to our 7th round picks. They just didn't. It just didn't go, and I'm not going through that whole thing again. But
No.
who,
I would take
out of the running backs
Edwards. I would take Edwards without a doubt right here.
Okay. Yeah, I like Edwards. I really like Jaden Blue too, just because of the speed. Very, very fast. I think we do need a speedy guy. I don't think you get a Taj Brooks or that physical running back. I think he kind of is just same thing as Ramondre there. I think it's got to be Donovan as your third down back guy that you can trust coming out of the backfield, kind of like an Antonio Gibson role, where you take a Jaden Blue to stretch the field, and rather than running north to south, running east west and getting around him.
Yeah,
and then
I think we're going to do a lot more zone blocking as well with variables.
Yep.
So having someone with speed to get to the outside, that might be perfect.
So maybe we would have taken Jaden Blue at 220 there, and then at 238 in round 7, the last pick. We've addressed all of our needs. What position, who are you looking for last there?
I think with Josh, and I know that, we have our star quarterback. I'm just not a huge fan of Dobbs. I would love to see us try and get somebody
Brady Cook
late. Yeah.
I like Brady Cook's name there if you're looking for a backup potentially. Not DJ Ukulele. KJ Jefferson, Project, Garrett Green, maybe. And then a lot of these other guys going to end up going undrafted. So you say quarterback. I say, honestly, I think maybe you get an edge. Tyler Batty. Just some depth there potentially. Or it's not going to be a third tight end. Maybe another cornerback or safety. I don't see any of these guys here that jump off the page there at us because all of our top 10 guys are gone. But that's our mock draft then, I guess, through 5 rounds, through 6 rounds. As much as we get. I love this, though.
Yeah, the one thing, though, I get out of this that I'm so much more comfortable with, and I know I said, let's put the trades in last week so we get a trade. No, I feel so much more comfortable with Will Campbell at 4.
I do, too. And I guess we'll have to see. I don't think... Yeah, I was going to say something about a live watch for Thursday, but that draft goes fucking late. And I know it's past your boomer hours.
Yeah.
Even though we'll be pretty early. But we'll see. We'll react to it, I'm sure, obviously, on Monday. But if you want our real-time reactions, those will be up on our social media on Thursday during the draft. Hopefully there's not too much chaos, but if we do end up seeing some trades, some trade backs, it's going to depend on who drops to us. But I'm very excited. This is the first time I've been this excited for a draft in a long time, just because I think there's so many options. I was very excited last year for Drake May and everything at the 3 pick, but I think we knew what was happening there, and we were happy to get Drake. Wasn't excited for the draft necessarily. I was excited for the prospect of Drake May. This year, I'm really excited for the draft, and there were a lot of ways to really piece together this team. I'm interested to see how this Patriots team does it, in what way they do it, in what order, and how they utilize their resources to get there.
Absolutely. And I just feel I probably feel more confident going into a draft with Mike at the helm than with Bill or last year as well.
I agree. All right, Dan. That's all I've got. We got through the Celtics. We did a lot today. We predicted the whole NBA playoffs. We predicted the whole NHL playoffs. Went over all the Red Sox last week and the future week, and we completed all of our NFL draft pre-draft coverage for the last couple weeks with our mock draft 2.0. Do you have anything else before I get us out of here?
No, I'm good, buddy.
All right. Well, as always, guys, we appreciate you listening. If you would like to keep up with us on social media outside of the episodes, make sure to do so at A New Era Podcast on Instagram, at A New Era Podcast on Twitter, A New Era Podcast on Facebook. And if you'd like to email us any questions, concerns, or funny business, A New Era Podcast at gmail.com. Also, one other thing I want to add into here, if you haven't already checked it out, or it's not your usual listening platform, we are available on YouTube. Just search up A New Era Podcast. We do upload our stuff there, still just audio versions. But definitely, if that's one of your preferred platforms, we are available there. I know we haven't brought it up yet. We appreciate you guys so much for listening to this episode. Go Patriots, go Sox. See what happens. Who is the next Pat? Go Celtics. Hopefully they run through this week with the Magic, and pretty simple week for us. And we will catch you guys next week for episode 69.
Yeah. Happy Marathon Monday, all our New England fans. Love you, son.
Love you, Dad.